Alright, let's start this little vlog. So for those of y'all out there that actually ride a motorcycle, do y'all ever like go a few days without riding your bike and then you're like, alright, so what is this machine I'm hopping on here? I don't even know. Alright, so you could probably tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, you probably already know what I'm going to be talking about. I am going to be talking about, well, actually first, I want to say, I actually did get my first tattoo the other day. Today is Monday and I got it Friday. I've just been kind of scared to ride my bike and put like an actual shirt over it. I've just been wearing like tank tops and everything, and I've been scared to actually get on the bike because I just don't want to ruin it. But I am going to be talking about my experience of getting my first tattoo. For those of y'all who don't know anything about tattoos, or you've been wanting a tattoo and you're like on YouTube googling everything like, oh, what is it like getting a tattoo? Does it hurt? Well, yeah, obviously it hurts. It's a tattoo. Alright, I'm gonna have to pull over here for a second because my windscreen for my microphone came off. Alright, but I'm gonna be talking about my experience getting the tattoo. So first off, I'm gonna start with my parents, okay? So for most of y'all that are probably on YouTube googling stuff about tattoos, you're probably at a conflict with your parents, because I know I did. Just to give you a little background, I am 20 years old, about 5 months from turning 21. I am in college. My parents are very, very protective of me, and by that I mean, I think I should have turned there. Yeah, I should have turned there. Oops. My parents are very protective over me, and by that I don't mean like they're overly protective, but they think of things that I normally don't think about. They don't think of things like I think about them. So they think more of stuff like towards the future, whereas I think of stuff more of like in the here and now. So I had a conflict with my parents. They're like, no, you're not getting a tattoo. They're like, oh, well, you're funny. You think we're gonna let you get a tattoo? Yeah, that's really funny. So I kind of had a conflict with them that lasted for a little bit. And whenever I actually got into college, I brought it up again, which I had drawn up my own idea of what I kind of wanted. And I showed it to them, and they were like, whenever you get out of college and get on your own, you can get a tattoo. And then I went to them a few days later, and I was like, hey, I'm getting a tattoo tomorrow. And they were completely okay with it. It's, I guess they just really wanted to push it and make it to where I really thought about what I was going to get. But you probably saw it in the thumbnail what it was. It's a ship helm, like the ship will, and it's got stay on course written. And there's a story behind that, and I'll get to that in a second. But my parents were kind of, you know, they didn't think of it in the now. I thought like I wanted a tattoo now. They were thinking of it, you know, later on in life, because they know if I start early with something that it's going to get out of hand. And I'm thinking they're scared that one day I'm going to come home and I'm going to have, you know, a whole sleeve, which I do want at some point. I want to continue that nautical theme going down my right arm. And I really don't see a problem in it. But back whenever I was younger, they used to get on to me a lot for, you know, doing the gun, you know, like gun thing. And I wasn't like that country kid. I did grow up in the country, but I was more like Western. I've been about the cowboy kind of life, and I still am, like wearing cowboy boots, blue jeans, the big belt buckle and everything. So they always got on to me for, you know, using the little handgun thing. They'd always yell at me and spank me and everything for stuff like that, which I guess they were trying to keep me from doing that out in public or at school or something, because I've seen a lot of kids in Walmart like use the little gun finger, but they're using it whenever they get mad, and I can clearly see that. So my first gun was a 410. And in the end, long story short, now I own like more, I'm not going to say exactly how many guns I own, but it's more than 20. I will say that. So I kind of went overboard with it. So I can see what they, my mentality and my personality and everything, I can see exactly what they're going by off of the tattoo thing. But they weren't really like mad that I got it, because I showed it to them today for the first time, and they really liked it. They were glad that I found something that I liked, and I could make a decision from that. You know, they're not happy, but oh well, it's my body. That's what I kept telling them. I'm like, at some point I'm gonna get it, and you're just gonna have to get over it. I'm sorry. But whenever I actually went in, I was talking to the guy, and I showed him the design that I wanted. And he was like, okay, well, I can't do this exactly because I can't tell if this is actually on somebody. So I'll do something close to it, and I will definitely, like, you know, give it my own touch. And I was like, all right, that's fine, as long as it's something along the lines of this. So the day comes, and like, I just showed him the design. I didn't pay for it whenever I went there, but like a few days later I had gone to him, and he had it drawn up, and I really liked it. I was like, dude, this is perfect. So I got there, and he put it on me. I had to sign a bunch of paperwork saying like I wouldn't sue and all this other stuff. And he puts the thing on me, like the stencil, and then we start going. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. It's not gonna hurt that bad or anything. I mean, it's a tattoo. It's gonna hurt, but it's definitely manageable, or people wouldn't do it. So I was sitting there. The moment he touched me with the needle, I was like, I really wish I went bigger on this tattoo. And I was already told, for a first tattoo, this was actually pretty big to be a first tattoo. So I'm sitting there thinking, about 5 minutes into it, I'm like, man, I wish I would have gotten this tattoo bigger, because it's not going to be as big as I want it. And then about 30 minutes into it, I'm like, oh my god, I wish I got it smaller. It hurts really badly. I was singing to myself in my head. I was just singing stuff like that in my head. Because it really did. It was really uncomfortable. I haven't been stung by a wasp or a bee in a long time. But if I could describe the pain, it felt like a bee sting. Like a constant bee sting, pretty much. That's what it felt like, was a constant bee sting. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like passing out pain, I'd say the outlining was probably about a 5, about a 4 or 5, definite 4 or 5. The outlining, or the shading part of it, with all the, it's just a black and gray tattoo, so the shading on the inside of the will was probably about a 2 or a 3, maybe a 4 at times whenever you got closer to the ribs. Probably about a 4 there. And then whenever he started the detailing on it, like the really thin needle, like the detailing, that was probably about a good 5. Now 5 or 6, that one was more up there, because that one hurt. All in all, the tattoo lasted about, I'd say he probably worked on it for about a good hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, somewhere around in there. It wasn't too bad, and the price wasn't too bad. For this, I'll actually say this: he came down on the price drastically, and he gave me a little bit of a leeway. Whenever he got done, he was like, "Oh man, yeah, just give me this much, man." And I tipped him graciously. I'm talking graciously for that. But I will tell you this, the first place I went to, I'm not going to say the name of the place, but the first place I went to, they were going to charge me $600 for this tattoo. And I was like, why are you going to charge me $600 for this tattoo? That's stupid. And they were like, well, you know, for how big it's going to have to be and all this other stuff, they were going to charge me $600. And I was like, no, I'm not paying $600 for a tattoo that's probably about the size of this tachometer right here. Nah, you saw it in the thumbnail. See, what I'm hoping for this thumbnail, I'm going to be able to put the finished one, and then like down in the corner or something, I'm going to be able to put, you know, like the, just the outline. So, I'm sure the aftercare is pretty much the same thing for all tattoos. I'm not sure, this is my first tattoo. But pretty much all they said to do was keep it lubed up with like a non-scented lotion. They said the scented lotions have like more alcohol in them, and they'll kind of fade it, or draw the ink out of it and make it fade. It won't be as colory, won't be as colored, whatever. And then they said wash it thoroughly with Dial antibacterial soap. So I haven't really had any issues with it other than it feeling like a sunburn. So whenever it got done, it didn't hurt whenever it got done at all. Like, people say it really hurts afterwards. I never had pain afterwards. It just felt like a normal sunburn, you know? And I'm sure everybody's been sunburned at some point in their life. That's pretty much what it sounded like, LOL. No, what it felt like. It really didn't hurt that bad. But that was my experience with my first tattoo. It really wasn't that bad. But guys, that was just a little story about my tattoo. Just giving a little, you know, kind of like backstory. Just for those of y'all who really don't know anything about tattoos and you thought about getting one, but you're too scared because you don't know like if it'll hurt and you don't really know much about it. This has just been a little kind of video to throw out there for y'all to look at and kind of see. It's really not as bad as some people say it is. It's really not as bad as some people say it is. I mean, it's bad because, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be pain-free. It's a tattoo, for God's sake. I mean, it's still going to hurt. It's just not as bad as people say it is. Anyways, guys, that's going to conclude this video. I hope y'all found it very informational, or I hope y'all found something in it that y'all did not know. And for those of y'all that are wanting a tattoo, thinking about it, but y'all haven't made the decision yet, I hope this video has kind of helped some of y'all out. Anyways, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe. For all my riders up there, go ahead and keep that wheel side down. Thank you very much. Mills out.